Right.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, you can start reading.
The teachings of Confucius will guide one down life's path with dignity and the respect of those around them. Lao Tzu prepares one for walking that path by showing us how to center ourselves. The practice of Zen Buddhism shows us what our reward will be for having lived well. We will leave behind the suffering of this world and be reincarnated as a higher being in the next life. Religious practices that hold us accountable for our own lives and give us individual spiritual power are uncharted territory. Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism all have elements of this worldly mysticism that attract and befuddle us Westerners. After thinking it over, I've come to the decision that Confucianism is the most directly applicable spiritual guide for my day-to-day existence. One of the big pitfalls of humanity is sweating the small stuff, an area in which I'm prone to overexerting myself. Questions like, does that person think I'm cool? Did I remember to lock the door when I left? And of the most nail-biting importance, will there be something edible in the cafeteria later, are questions that linger in the back of all of our minds. I'd be willing to bet money that these questions were on the minds of Confucius's followers too. Luckily, Confucius kind of does the work for us. The sage advice collected centuries ago in his Analects responds like a gentle whisper floating through life's guttural din. A gentleman avoids seeking to satisfy his appetite to the full when he eats. One does not worry about the fact that other people do not appreciate one. One worries about not appreciating other people. If one sets one's heart on humaneness, one will be without evil. Confucius did acknowledge that humans can't always transcend their faults. If he commits a fault, he should not shrink from correcting it. As I was reading Confucius's words, I found myself wondering whether I could have his messages about humaneness tattooed on my forehead or someplace equally conspicuous. I can't even begin to imagine how different this world would be if we all simply reminded ourselves of these little rules once a day. Seeing Zen was a transformative experience for me, as dorky as that sounds. I knew next to nothing about Buddhism going into the theater. When I came out, I feel like I'd experienced, and maybe even understood, something that 99.9% of the people around me won't. Knowing that the world's beauty is inside you, and that happiness is achieved through meditation and quiet reflection is extremely special. However, completely dedicating one's life to isolation, quietude, and piety is a lifestyle that I just couldn't maintain. When you've achieved inner peace and your soul is open and free, you shouldn't keep that locked away inside of yourself, only ministering to those who seek you. You have to find a way to keep yourself balanced, one foot in the clouds, one foot in the thick of things on planet Earth. Once you've made yourself whole, you should be free to share your unrestrained happiness with others. A vow of silence and lack of interaction with the community makes for a less than well-rounded person. I could never be a Zen Buddhist, but I have the utmost respect for what its practitioners have achieved. Having said all this, I keep going back to the video we watched about the Chinese habit of incorporating the best of all three worlds into their daily lives. They're Confucians by day, Taoists by night, and Buddhists in death. I like this approach. Those who are fond of learning, Confucius, do without doing, Lao Tzu, and have a Buddhist sense of being at peace with the world will reap the good they've sown.
So how does it feel reading this essay after having written it, some time ago? Do you agree with it? Do you see it as written by somebody else?
Well, it might have been because obviously I couldn't read it. I was like, no, I did write this, I swear. Don't go online, you might find it. No, I completely agree with it still, absolutely. I think that, I don't know, Confucius had a good thing going that everybody, it's just like life, you're supposed to learn from everybody, so I don't see why you would stick with just one way of believing things. It's like, for me, I live by two sayings.
Mhm.
The first is like, only believe that you're 90% right. Don't ever go 100% because that's when you start making big mistakes and people start laughing at you.
Mhm.
And then the other one is someone else's point of view is always the most precious gift that you can be given, or something like that. Sounds poetic like that.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I think that you have to look at things from different points of view, and you should never assume that you're the only one who's right. So.
Do those principles define, or does it help you write when you approach a topic to write about?
Yeah, because it keeps you questioning.
Mm.
Yeah. It keeps you questioning what you're doing.
What's the usual process that you start writing? Do you outline? Do you just start draft directly, or how do you do it?
I like to wait until midnight, the night before it's due.
Okay.
And then I like to be like, oh my god, what am I doing? And then I remember that I've forgotten everything that I'm supposed to reference in the paper. So I kind of just write whatever comes out first. And if I have to, I'll write an outline. But no, usually I just sit down and actually what usually ends up happening is that I write an awesome intro paragraph, and then the next paragraph will somehow end up being my conclusion paragraph. So I write the beginning and the end first somehow, and I always look at it and that can't be the second paragraph. That has to be another general paragraph. So the meat of it is always what comes last, I guess. So but usually if I'm gonna write something big, I like to watch for a movie. I like to watch it again. So I watched a little bit of Zen again. I found it in the library. So yeah.
Did you always like to write back from the time when you were in, let's say, junior high or high school?
Yeah, always. In elementary school, as part of 5th grade, handwriting and just writing in general. We had to keep a composition journal, and we had to write in it at least once a day, and sometimes more. And I think ever since then, I don't do that now. I don't keep a journal or anything, but I liked writing a lot, and I liked reading. And I think reading is really important when you're gonna write. So, yeah.
So what did you? How did you come to like or enjoy this act of writing? Did it have to do with readings, as you said, or what? Was it always just natural? Was there an inspiring teacher, or what was it?
Yeah, I had really good teachers in elementary school, and then my 6th grade English teacher was really cool. And actually, it's funny. My mom actually, she worked at the middle school, after I graduated high school. She went back to that middle school and she had a job there, and that teacher was still there, and I went and saw her. I was like, you're the best teacher and I really liked your class. And I like doing stuff like this. Actually, I gotta tell you, I thought it was pretty cool. The first essay that we did about Gandhi.
Yeah.
Okay, so teachers never asked for your opinion, hardly ever. And doing a response thing like these essays have been, I've never done them really, because teachers just don't really usually want your opinion. But it's been fun, because writing like this, doing a response, almost an editorial type thing. I guess I enjoy that kind of thing. But yeah, I guess I like writing because I don't really like talking as much as that would not be evident from this interview. I don't like talking actually that much. I think words are so much more effective on a page. Usually.
Yeah.
Not always. Some speakers are really awesome.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I like Japanese so much. Is because the kanji, the script, it's an art form, but it's also, it's multiple art forms in one thing.